Broadcasting live, this is the Handicappers Report, brought to you by the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth Merrow. I'm Anthony Mormino on what can only be quantified as a glorious Saturday morning. This has been one of the nicest runs of weather you could possibly ask for, regardless of time of year. So hopefully you're out there enjoying it. The holiday weekend, be safe. NYRA running on Monday. And then my director told me, and I kind of pay attention to what's directly in front of me, but they won't run at NYRA until they run at Saratoga. So they're giving up a weekend in June. I think it's Epsom Derby Day over in England, that Saturday. But so we got NYRA through Monday, and then the next time we'll see them up at Saratoga. Yeah, and summer's underway unofficially. This is right, the weekend that unofficially kicks off summer.
Yep. And walked out to my car yesterday. It was covered in gold dust.
Oh, the pollen. It's going to be covered in pollen. I forgot.
Yeah, and I was a little under the weather earlier this week. So
I was looking for you on Wednesday. I'm like, getting to be 2:30. I'm like, listen, I usually do my lawn work, come in, catch Seth. I'm like, where is he? What is there, nighttime racing at like Bangladesh or something?
Monday and Tuesday were rough. And I'm kind of wondering, because I went to the doctor and a lot of the usual suspects were negative for COVID. And I actually had found a tick bite a couple of weeks ago, negative for Lyme disease. So all of that was good.
That's good news.
But I have had trouble with sinus infections before with the pollen. So I'm wondering if it was somehow pollen related.
All right,
I just had a reaction to, because there was, my point being, there was a lot of pollen. My car was really, there was a little
It is
yellow
amazing to see that yellow
yesterday.
sheet. You're like, that's probably for some. Well, I've been, I guess, fortunate in life. I've never affected me. A little windshield wiper fluid, and I'm good. But other people, I know that's a treacherous sign. So we're in the, 2/3 past the Triple Crown. We have Saratoga coming up for the Belmont, which in and of itself will be exciting. We had
Triple Crown thoughts? Preakness thoughts?
Very typical to my whole idea about muddy and sloppy racetracks. I compartmentalize them, and I don't really take anything going forward. I think Mystic Dan ran well enough. I think when the rains came, speed became better, and Wayne Lucas and young Mr. Torres took advantage of it. Tuscan Gold did, whether it was the slop or whatever. As I said, I'm very forgiving for poor performances, and I don't think much about great performances in the off-going. You think about Exaggerator a couple years ago. He seemed to really enjoy the off-going, and that's fine. I don't take anything away from him.
Wouldn't it have been?
He'd have been a circle with the X.
The circle with the X.
He'd been superior. He'd have been.
There was the asterisk.
The star, was the fair.
X, and then the circle.
He'd been the circle. He'd have been a circle. So for the old people at home, or older people in our set, are smiling, a little smile, and young people going, what are the two old guys talking about? So,
exactly.
You need a old daily racing
the
form.
old mud mark.
Yes. So, and a couple things like,
which
I'm so happy for the coach, because it's just, you talk about records that won't be broken. I think he's won a Preakness in 5 decades now. Good luck chasing that.
Yeah, that's great. And that was part, I did not use Seize the Gray, but it was a great story with Wayne Lucas winning again. I had a bankroll out here, and I had gone heavy with Catching Freedom over Mystic Dan. That would have ballooned the bankroll up nicely. I used a little bit on the reverse. Top of the stretch, I thought, they both got him, and they're going to go by, and
not on that track.
They couldn't go by.
And I thought Freedom ran well.
Twitter or social media was kind of iffy on him. I thought it was an open.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just don't invest very much in it for when, they go down the road and they get a clear, fast racetrack. I basically draw a red flag. I don't care what happened there. It was, I feel, so badly for Baltimore and Pimlico. I mean, it's just, the rains came, and you had the turf races on a soft, boggy turf course, and you had a very sloppy racing surface. So we'll see how they go forward. We'll see who comes up for the Belmont at 1.25 miles, which I think this year, and I think it helps very much. I mean, I think a lot of trainers beg off the 12 furlongs. They don't want to get their horse going 12 and then have to cut it back. Remember, you wouldn't remember. It's not that important. But Jenna Antonucci, I thought last year did a great thing when she skipped the race. She went from the Belmont to the Travers, and I liked her that day. And I said, you're almost going to get hung an L on the next race coming out of the Belmont winner. It's just such an anachronism. And she passed on it. She's like, forget it. And then she trained it up to the race, and he was, brilliant, I thought, in the Travers. And, so we'll see. One of the things you talked about, if they stretched out the Triple Crown, one of the unintended consequences, negative, that might happen. I have to tell you, Seth, I work in a world that's very good marketing people, just people. Not one person asked me. I don't even think people know the Preakness is a race. It is amazing. My point being, I don't think there's any transfer over to the Preakness. We put it on the television. There was like nobody was even. I was the only one watching it. There's just no. So if you made it a month after
the ratings were good.
Yeah, I could see that. If it was a month in between, it would be a better horse race. That's my argument. Yeah. And in the public's want to keep the continuum, nobody asked me who I liked in the Preakness, which was good because my horse was terrible. So that is good. Another thing, because you led me onto it, about the favorites at Hawthorne. So I had a little free time with the good weather this week. I think they run today.
I think you're right.
They haven't run since I compiled these statistics.
Because I think they have a big online or on-track contest today.
Okay, so I checked. I didn't check this morning to see if they ran on Friday. The favorites at this meet, which started, I think, March 23rd, 75 for 151. So the one race off of being 50%. And when Seth mentioned that, I said Thistle Downs is a track that we're covering on the network Monday through Thursday mostly. And I decided, I usually pick an obscure lower level track that doesn't get as much attention. So they're 73 for 161 for 45%. But as I was following Thistle Downs, I noticed some things. And here's the biggest difference. So Hawthorne has the highest percentage, an ungodly 50%. Their average favorite winner is paying $4.20. The highest is $9. How about this at Thistle Downs? The highest price favorite to win paid $5.60, and the average price on favorites at Thistle Downs is $3.70. I'm telling you, Seth, I have never seen. Now they have shorter fields, albeit there's no turf racing. They've had a great run of weather. I don't think they've had an off-fast racetrack since their meet started. But you talk about a place that loves their favorites. They have more 1-5 and 1-10 shots so far in this meet than you'll see at NYRA at the Belmont meet through Belmont meet covering Saratoga. They love they just pile it in. And I'll tell you what's even funnier. About 50% of the time when these short price favorites run out of the money, I'm thinking, boy, I'll see balloons for place or for show. It's obscure. It's only like 50% of the time do I get the balloons for those. But the other, I'm like, the 1-5 shot just ran fourth, but it doesn't resonate in the other pools. But 50% at Hawthorne, I've never seen. Oh, and I also checked it out. If you would bet all the favorites so far, you'd be above water, 204.
No.
So, but if you did it at Thistle Downs, you'd be underwater because they pay lower and they're not at 50%. They're at 45%. So I would wager, Seth, that any long-term meet has never had 45% winning favorites paying $3.70.
That sounds very believable.
I mean, when I went through it, and it doesn't matter, but it's based on how I set up my spreadsheets. It's easy for me to parse out data visually. But how about this? This is what I found the most remarkable, Seth. That $5.60 was the highest price winning favorite. There's never been a 2-to-1 shot favorite win. And I will tell you this, there's rarely 2-to-1 favorites. They have, I should have put this on, Seth, but I'm going to tell you off the top of my head, and I'll bring this to you next week, folks. I don't want to say 75%, but north of 50. So I'll say 60% of the races have an odds-on favorite. They had a day, they had 5 losing odds-on favorite. I keep an extra spreadsheet any day where there's 3 odds-on horses losing. At a Saratoga meet, there might be one every other year. I think I already have 6 for Thistle Downs, 3 or more in this case, but 5 one day.
The Hawthorne numbers are going to, I think, start to even out a little bit, though, because they're going to add some turf racing. That'll have bigger fields, and I think that'll mitigate that.
But you were right. It was
but the early part of the
75 for 151 going into today. And I have to tell you, I didn't count up the number of days, but 151, let's say 8 races a day. They probably have raced 17 or 18 days. I don't think I've ever seen 18 days of a meet be at 15%.
Yeah. No.
50%. I mean, it's just, so thank you for that heads up. It didn't take me very long. And, so Hawthorne's in the mix now. Emerald Downs, penny breakage, because they're in the mix for Mormino this year. I think it's first track outside of the state of Kentucky.
Yeah, I think I read that. And the other interesting news, what is Cinnaboya is going with the starting the clock when the gate opens. I think that's a thing. And
it's amazing. Can you imagine? Here's the thing that we think about. Could you imagine telling that to a newbie? They just
I get the point of maybe giving them a stride or two, but this whole thing where maybe we start 50 yards away.
Churchill Downs, 60, the 6 furlong races. What do they have? The 200-foot run
where it's not consistent. Yeah, it's so. But I'm going to be interested to see how that shakes out.
And I will say this. 40 years ago, when we ran mostly dirt races, when they used to say they didn't want ruts forming, we run 5 furlong turf races. I mean, there's not as many dirt races at the same distance, so I don't buy that anymore. Did you ever notice at Gulfstream Park, and I'll double check with Brian, but when they run their 2-year-old races, they are at the pole. Because it's that, light lavender or whatever color. They're like one stride behind the pole. That's the closest I've seen. So, yeah, you explain to newbie, well, we don't really start the race at 6 furlongs, and we don't really start the teletimer when the gate opens. And they'd be looking at you like, what do you play, like 2 innings of baseball, then you start keeping score? How does this work? So, now one other thing. I want to get your take if you feel this way, that now that Heisa has entrapped one of the good guys, apparently people are railing against Heisa.
I'm in the camp of what you're alluding to. I think it seems a little hypocritical what's been going on the past couple of weeks, and I would love to see them do.
I'd love to see you have her on and explain.
I would love to see them get 12 horses and this metformin, is that how you pronounce whatever?
I would guess, just phonetically. And
give 3 of the horses the way you would anticipate somebody would give it to actually cheat, intravenously or whatever. Then give 3 of the horses a full pill, just have them eat a full pill. Then drop a pill in water and have somebody rub it on their hands, and then have them take care of the bridle and for another 3, and have 3 horses be a control, and send the blind tests to the lab and have them come back. And I'd like to match these up to the numbers we get on the positives these trainers are getting, to get a better idea of what the numbers are as far as the because the whole contamination thing, to me is I just don't understand it enough. And so I would love to see the numbers on that type of thing so I could compare to the numbers they're coming up with the contamination as to what are we closer to. I'd love to see that kind of a test.
My thoughts were, though, that the people that were for HISA have now put on the brakes because George Weaver, whom everybody likes and obviously had a very sad year, etc. Now all of a sudden, many of those people are like, "Well, now we're they're muddying the waters," because, as somebody correctly put on Twitter, they caught one of the good guys, and so now people are like backpedaling off of their enthusiasm for what HISA was doing for 2 years. I mean, most people were. So I thought that was an interesting. I know you scroll Twitter. You're not on Twitter very much, but it's been amazing how everyone now, because there was the camp that was against HISA, and now everyone seems to be against them because of this one case. It does not seem to be about it's about, he would never cheat. Oh, okay. There you go. We don't need HISA. We could just say it. So it would be, and it's unimaginable how it's going to play out.
And then Janine Sahadi, who has been critical, there was this one just a few days ago with a far lesser known trainer, and Janine Sahadi was essentially like, "Okay, folks, now what?" And like I say, I agree with the hypocrisy you're kind of alluding to. But again, I would love to, just as somebody who looks at the numbers, I can't judge. I would love to see that. And I should say, I'm saying, give these horses. If it is not going to hurt the horses, I would love to see that test done. And I think just the one.
I don't know what the timeline is going to be for adjudicating this.
I think the timeline is. I think it's adjudicated. Today or yesterday, I was handicapping and saw a couple Weaver horses that are.
Well, is it 2 years?
At this point, it is. He's appealing, but it's 2 years. Yeah,
that's a. We'll see. I mean, we're still trying to figure out the Saudi Cup. There's still some things we're still trying to find out the hopeful winner. There's some things we're trying to figure out here. And this is the part we talk about. With no journalism in the sport anymore, it's almost impossible. Because, I mean...
I won't say no, little. I still think Matt Hegarty and...
but Matt, if I call up Matt, I think he'd be just like, I have no idea, like the hopeful winner of 22. I told you the goal.
Well, I mean, that doesn't negate his being a journalist.
No, you're right, but his angle is completely different, and I don't think it's on his desk.
No, but you said without journalism.
Oh.
I'm not, and so I
because I don't expect Naira to come forth and say who the winner is.
I don't know how. Yeah. Well,
you know what? We're gonna look it up while we do it. You can go. I can do two things at once.
All right. Well, before
what do we got?
Before I do go, I will announce that today it's a play the board contest. Today here at the Clubhouse Racebook. So if you'd like to swing by, enjoy racing here at the Racebook this afternoon, we would love to have you swing by, and you can get a little extra something with a $100 play the board contest. That happens today right here at the Clubhouse Racebook. I will also announce on this holiday weekend, tomorrow and Monday, Sunday and Monday night, thoroughbred action available here on the network via CapitalTV.com. So keep that. Of course, a big card out Santa Anita on the holiday Monday. So Sunday and Monday night action here at Capital OTB.
Did you get any sniffs last Saturday, which you were put in an impossible position? I mean, I
did. I hit something. Everybody got a little something.
Forte is still listed as the winner of the Hopeful Stakes at Saratoga.
So I hit something. Everybody got on the bankroll, got a little something.
There you go.
But I had a chunk of change left and took my big swing with that exact. And again, at the top of the stretch, I thought, we're going to get this. One way it was going to be okay. People would have gotten a look, but the other way it was going to be over $1,000. So it would have.
And by the way,
nice.
When a horse is down to 9-2, as I said, it was just, he became the second wise guy pick, but there you go.
All right. You ready to roll?
I am.
Belmont at the Big A on this Saturday on the holiday weekend. We are looking at in the opener $10,000 plain vanilla claimers. They'll travel 7 furlongs. Your thoughts in race 1?
I'm going to get to my selections. You'll see 362. But here's an example, Seth. Like, do you have it? Yeah. So number 4, right? 37 races at Belmont at Aqueduct. Well, we know he hasn't run 37 times at this meet. This is where down the road, people are going to get, they should never have gone to this BAQ. They should not have done it. I've said this before about parsing out inner turf and outer turf course stats. They don't do that. But this down the road, this is just, these are Aqueduct stats, and that's how it should be. And that's an example where if this person looks up BAQ, they're not going to see 37 starts for this horse. And I think there are people that, that's going to, like I said, you don't start at the start line. The clock doesn't start. 362. You start to think about it from an outsider. We got some funny stuff going on in our sport, but luckily they pay big balloons sometimes. Sister Linda takes blinkers off for Dominic Schettino, second start. I like the first off the claim. Lane Luzzy remains on board. For second, number 6, Stop Giggling, who I nearly put on top for Bruce Levine. Steps out of much tougher, as I have determined in my heart, the starter allowance versus claimer, especially 10. And then for third, My First Love, Wayne Potts, 362 in the opener.
Race number 2 this afternoon, State Bred Maiden Claimers. They will travel 6.5 furlongs.
Bunch of, what was it like? Was the late pick 5 New York breds yesterday? It was they dominated the card. The late 356 here. I'll get to Stanley Ruff in a moment, but Montauk Surf adding blinkers for the third career start. Much improvement in the second, has always run for a tag. Number 5, First Sons, making the first start since January, coming back after 2 poor finishing positions. But I like the early positioning in the most recent one. Went to the sidelines, comes back 4 months later. So projecting here, this horse now has shown me some early speed. And I'm just thinking that something clearly went wrong, because in this day and age of time between races, 4 months indicates to me something went wrong. So hopefully I have the early speed, something doesn't go wrong. And then Stanley Ruff. This is just for me, folks. Half the equation of the less well is going to happen. Probably not going to be 1/5 or 1/6 the price, but maybe half or less, but ran well enough in debut at this price. I'm expecting a little regression. 356. Oh, and by the way, congratulations to yours truly and Phil Serpy. Leave no trace. I think you should get extra points as a public handicapper when the longest shot on the board is your top pick and wins.
Was that the longest shot on the board? Wow.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow. Yeah, the nice stakes winner up at Saratoga, and then had the little lull, but seems to be on the comeback.
Well, he had the one at Saratoga. Then the year before, he won the big race in Canada.
No. I'm talking Leave No Trace. The
Leave No
horse
Trace.
had
Okay,
the stakes went up at Saratoga, then had the little lull. Third race, we're looking at State Bred non-winners and one other than 9 furlongs the trip.
726 Jackson Heights gets my top pick for the Orlando Noda outfit, making the third start of the year. If you're familiar with me, that's one of my favorite spots, whether it's the start of the career or, in this case, start of a season. For second, Bad Larry, been popular at the Claim Barn, won very impressively first off the claim for Wayne Potts. And for third, number 6, Bob John Ray, Chad Brown's runner, takes on winners for the first time, 726.
Race number 4, State Bred Maiden Specials, scheduled for the turf, 3/4 of a mile.
852. I'm going to be intrigued to watch and see if we receive 8-1 on Heavenly Girl for Horatio De Paz. Debuted at Saratoga, just got beat by Graham, laid off until April. This is a rarity for me. This is the type of comeback race I appreciate, which is, to me, not overtaxing, and we can move forward a month later. War Dancer, boy, he's an under the radar, but so far, I think he's one of the top 2 sons as stallions from Warfront, who obviously was tremendous stallion. For second, number 5, Generous Luva, going out for Richard Dutrow. Nice debut, going a mile. Shortens up to a sprint. And then for third, Jorge Abreu on a little roll here. Capital Spending. Nice on debut. 8.52.
Race number 5, we are looking at state bred allowance runners yet again. Non-winners are one other than on the grass, a mile and a 16.
By the way, when Leave No Trace ran under the wire, the family, I have to miss 2 shows to go to the Outer Banks before Saratoga starts, but I think Leave No Trace gets me to Saratoga, treading above water. Not going down like Abbott and Costello. So we'll see that how we can take some swings here. And remember, I can't wait to see who I'm assigned next Saturday.
Oh,
it'd be interesting who I receive. 10-7 for me in this coming out of the dog leg. And I'll tell you, one of my favorite post positions coming out of the dog leg is the 5, 6, 7 area. I think 1, 2, 3, they can get boxed in as they come out of the door. But I'm parked outside. But I have to tell you, obviously we like Jimmy and Tina Bond so much, but his horses take some time off. But boy, when he brings them back, this horse won on debut in November. This is the second start. Rojda, number 10 for Bond Racing Stable, an offspring of Air Force Blue, who is, I've said this before, I think it's the U column where I put the stallions. I was not very familiar with Air Force Blue until about 3 months ago when he started showing up and producing winners. First time in forever. Love that saying. Leo Powell sends out number 2, my second pick, with Flavien Prat. And then Boxed Wine, who I obviously giggled when I saw the name, takes on winners for the first time. 10-7.
I have your top 2 flip-flopped, and I wanted to put the 10 on top. The outside
Out
post
there,
position at the mile and a 16th shied me away a little bit.
It was a legitimate concern.
6th race, Belmont at the Big A. Maiden claimers at the 20 level going 6.5.
7, 10, and 6 here. Lane Leslie takes out the number 7, who you have to search. You have to go back a long way. I think it's 5 races back where you saw off of a layoff a good effort when getting a fast racetrack going 7/8. So I parsed way down there, and I'm taking number 7 on top. For second, number 10, Aprio, going out for Linda Rice. Boy, I'll tell you, Jose Lescano and Linda Rice, boy, they have not slowed down very much since that 3-bagger last week. First off, the $20,000 claim from the Pletcher barn. And this would be interesting. Linda probably could have projected that the horse was going to be a short price. So she had to be holding her breath at 1-2. Don't win. I have to tell you, I don't, they would probably say it on the record, not other ones, but maiden claiming, when you put in for a maiden claiming, it has to burst your bubble if they win the race. I'm not talking, the other ones, I would never ask them their insight, but this was a real risk. So I think she wins today. And then for third, Shaking the Bell for Rudy, who has now been, after 2 years, 2 summers ago, Rudy's been a consistent 13 to 18% trainer. He has gotten off the train, Seth, of the bar graph trainer for me. And he was one of the first ones that made me think of the bar graph. 7, 10, 6.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, more Belmont at the Big A. I'll take a look at Churchill a little bit later on as we kick off the holiday weekend. Stay tuned.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and Home decor from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Handicappers Report on this Saturday morning. Seth, Merrow, Anthony Mormino. Top of the hour, will be joined by Ellis Starr, national racing analyst from Equibase. And I reached out to him because he'll take a look at a number of stakes. And it's a day where we're going to let you take a look at stakes action at Belmont, Churchill, Monmouth. A couple of nice stakes down at Gulfstream, too. And he's going to look at one of those. So we'll do that at 10 o'clock and more. You said, when you mentioned this, I thought, you said you don't know what track you'll get it. I'm guessing you don't want Hawthorne.
I don't want Hawthorne. Unless it's the day that the tide switches, which I wouldn't know until after the fact.
Seventh race, Belmont at the Big A today is stakes action. The Pennine Ridge, they're on the grass at 1 1/8 miles for the 3-year-olds.
But I'll tell you, I know, and Thistle Downs runs basically Monday through Thursday, folks. Thistle Downs would be a bigger stone to push up the hill for me because there's just, there's literally 3 to 5 shots in 7 of their 8 races a day. I mean, I'm sure Ken and Shell on Twitter will be, and I have to agree with them. They have all the races in New York. Of all the horses that have run in New York, how did Pennine Ridge get a stakes race that's now up to a grade 2? Can you even remember Pennine Ridge? No. And he'll be on it today. 2-1-6. Charles Appleby actually lost a race, but it goes back and Seth, I don't think we were working as regularly together going back. I have to ask my director. See the Stars was 2009, right? Yeah. But we used to talk about him. See the Stars baseball card is the most overlooked of any horse, even the Europeans overlook him. Take a look at See the Stars on Equibase. Your eyes will pop out. And my director and I and a couple other guys, we would talk about him that whole spring. And he's just a great stallion, too. Legend of Time is my top pick. Second start, United States, beaten favorite. White Palomino, Chad Brown's runner, first time versus winners. And St. James the Great goes out. I actually thought about putting St. James the Great on top, but I couldn't get past the first 2. And one thing I want to say to the Greatest Stakes Committee, and they haven't listened to me for 26 years, but shouldn't be too many grade 2s where you're taking on winners for the first time. That almost seems like by reverse engineering, you can't be a grade 2 then. I
put the Chad second-time starter on top, who fits that. I've had Legend of Time right underneath because it's Charlie Appleby.
Yeah, I mean,
but I took a little shot against him in the American Turf, and it's trickery. A lot of people are saying Tricari, but I heard the owner or somebody connected, and it should be Trickery. Won that race, and I didn't have that one, but I did take the shot against Legend of Time. Just doesn't seem
one of the upper tier ones.
But we'll see. I have him right underneath, sir.
I have to tell you,
what I find interesting here, though, is this seems like a fairly quick turnaround, too. So
yes, 3 weeks. Yes. Imagine 3 weeks we're not talking about a quick turnaround. Not 2, but 3. Yeah. But the other thing I also think of, I look at the Pennine Ridge as a listed stakes race.
Yeah.
Not a grade 2.
Yeah. 8th race this afternoon is State Bred Allowance non-winners of 1. Again, 1 1/16 miles on the grass.
Good day for Horatio DePaz and yours truly. 725. Smoking Hot Kitty comes out of the starter allowance into the State Bred. Comes out of back-to-back victories. I like my chances for the offspring of Kitten's Joy. Smoking Eyes for a second time in the Bill Mott barn, and Determined Lily, first time in the Michael Trambetta barn. I haven't confirmed it, but I think Mr. Ramsey is not feeling well.
No. Well, we wish him the best, certainly.
Like, not well at all.
9th Belmont at the Big A, 12-5 claimers going the 1-turn mile.
Oh, you know what I wanted to ask you particularly? I think I saw, is it 20-cent pick threes at Woodbine?
The increment up there is 20 cents, yeah. On pretty much everything.
That's pretty low. I saw it was it 20-cent trifectas.
Yeah, it's been that way for a while.
Yeah, I was like, I think I asked you once before. That's too low.
If
I
you
don't
can get
like
a price in there, they can be okay. The pick three is, that seems.
50 cent is the bullseye for you, correct? That's your opinion?
Yeah. But it's my hope now for New York is because other is like it's never going to happen in New York because other tracks are going the other way. Where was it just recently? The pick three went from 50 back to $1. Was it Florida maybe?
And I see they're debating carryovers for pick fours and pick fives in New York.
Oh, really?
Yes.
9th at Belmont at the Big A again. Did we do the 9th? No,
I'm ready to speak.
I think
you introduced it. Right? 856 for me, Orlando Noda on top here. The most recent effort I think is better than looks on paper and drops down. Candy Tycoon, Rudy Rodriguez runner, a little muddied up the last couple of races. Another drop down. And for third, number 6, Funkenstein going out for David Jacobson, 856.
10th race, Belmont at the Big A. Again, state bred allowance non-winners are one other than popular condition today. And this one will go 6 furlongs on the grass.
10-1-7. P-Money. Big price in here. I didn't pull the trigger in the stakes race, but I did hear Bob Placeris runner came to New York in a sprint. I think that was a nice tune-up for this spot. Trevor McCarthy, who was aboard at 5-1, is aboard at 20-1 on the morning line. Part of the entry scheduled to break from the number 5 post position is a 10-1 Michael Dubb runner. Sign me up. And for third, Little Lang going out for Jorge Abreu, 10-1-7 in the 10th.
And we will wrap it up at about 5:45 this evening with race number 11, State Bred Maiden Claimers, going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf.
And full field of 12 with also eligibles. And I am on the outside much of this. 12, 5, 11. I get all the worst of it in the starting gate, but I get all the best of it with Flavian Prat. First time in for a tag since Rudy claimed this horse for 40 from Christophe Clement. Jay Hirsch, first time in for a tag for Graham Motion, comes up from Tampa. I think will be heck to pay in this race. And then Frozen 4 for all you college hockey fans. Gelded for the first time. Believable since this horse hasn't run since November. 12, 5, 11.
And again, I flip-flop your top 2 based on post position. Yes. But I will say to people, whenever I kind of read into the post position, I lose. It's like, my outside, the one I'm thinking, outside post, I can't use that one. They get a great trip. And then if I go to the outside post, they get a horrible trip. So you could be right onto something.
I hope so.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, I'll shift attention over to Churchill Downs. Stay tuned. Haven't signed up for a Capital OTB account yet? Now's the time to take advantage of the sign-up bonus. Open up a new account with $200 or more, bet $400 by the end of the month, and receive a bonus $200 into your account. Plus, you can take advantage of everything an OTB account has to offer. Wagering from any device, live streaming, racing info, past performances, online promotions, and more. Sign up today and take advantage of the new account bonus. Details at capitalotb.com.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Turn our attention to Churchill Downs. In the opener, 6 furlong starter allowance.
7-5-3-1 for me. I'll go with Summer of Mischief on top. Nice win, 2 back down at Oaklawn. Claimed out of that. They came back in a starter allowance down there and ran a good close-up second. I love the Oaklawn shippers. Nick Zito, I think from
Oaklawn Park.
Opener yesterday from Oaklawn. And so the Oaklawn shipper angle worked for him. I'll go with Summer of Mischief on top. Second spot, Rob Atris has some runners down in Kentucky. Jose Ortiz on board. So you have New York connections here with a horse that won a nice little starter allowance at Churchill in the latest effort. And should be very contentious again today. Mazoku in the third spot. In the hunt more often than not, and recently has been knocking on the door with a couple of second place finishes, has an apprentice on board, but that apprentice has been on board for those 2 nice seconds most recently. Should be in the mix again this afternoon in the opener, 7-5-3-1.
And by the way, for the first time in my life with my spreadsheets, because of you, I have Churchill. I am tracking the last race on. So we'll see what that.
I think Keeneland's doing well at this point.
Yes, and Turfway Park, as Ed DeRosa has picked out, they've had a fair amount. But Oakland Park, Nick Zito got there. Claimers in for 22L, going a mile 16 dirt in the second.
8-6-4-3, God of Wine on top. Nice win, 2 back, and that was bookended by a couple of second place finishes. So this horse comes in obviously in very good form. Tried a similar race on the move from Fairgrounds to Churchill last time. And again, it was a pretty good second place finish for a good trainer down there, Chris Hartman, Mitch Merrow on board, or Morrell, who has been on board for the past few starts. So team has this horse in good form. The second place finish last time was behind an X'd out winner. That flatters this horse as well. Should be legit in here. Stingy in the second spot. Tried better company so far throughout the career. Last time was at the 50 level at Keeneland. Showed some punch before fading. Drops down to 20 today. I think that drop is going to make this one very, very dangerous. And then Tiverton in the third spot. Lightly raced runner for Ian Wilkes. 3 career starts so far. It seems like we're on a trajectory to improve in each start so far and could be primed to move forward again. And just as I say, the 4th career start for a lightly raced horse. So we'll see if that one continues the upswing. Race 2, 8-6-4-3.
On to the third. I first saw this condition about 4 years ago at Saratoga. These are the restricted maiden special weights, fillies going 6.
Which is a great addition,
Tremendous.
I think, certainly up at Saratoga. 2, 6, 10, and 5. Mo for us, going out for Steve Asmussen with his son on board, Hillenbrandt's owning. So potent connections that have started in a similar situation in a restricted stake down at the fairgrounds, but that was state breds. Just missed there. Then went in an open maiden special at Oaklawn and just missed there. I think it will be a square fit in this condition here at Churchill. Second spot, we'll use Penny Smile. 10-1 for the Phil Sims horse. If you want to play around, I think you can with this one. Went in a similar race at Keeneland in the career debut, and I thought ran very well. Subsequently has had some good workouts, including the May 11th bullet work, best of 139. I think 10-1, particularly given, a good first start and that really nice workout. I think that 10-1 looks very generous on number 6, Penny Smile. And then Crazy Cammy in the third spot. Hasn't been seen since last November, but another one coming in with a bullet workout. And the bullet off of the layoff, I think, indicates this one should be on her toes. They're also showing a first time LASIK symbol. They obviously had some high hopes. They tried the Alcibiades last year, didn't fare well, but the other races outside of that in more proper conditions, this horse is always in the mix. And I think off the layoff and with the workout will be again today. In the third at Churchill, 2, 6, 10, and 5.
And speaking of the Alcibiades, this year will be the 40th anniversary of a $200 winner of the Alcibiades. Very few $200 winners in the history of horse racing.
Some foreign venue recently. I saw was like 600 or 800, and I thought, I didn't know that was possible.
I didn't think that was possible. Yeah. Obviously, no CAWs there. On to the fourth, going a mile on the turf. Maiden special weights.
13, 1, 2, and 8. Claret Beret has to get in from the AE list. That's certainly the big concern. I was going to say, when you said
13, I was like, is that?
But also, this is one of those where I'm taking a shot despite the outside post position, but that second career start just looked very good. There was an outside post position that day and seemed to run very well. Tyler Gaffleone sticks on board. So, again, if we do sneak in, this horse is going to be dangerous, obviously. Quietly in the second spot by night, not this time. An interesting win early type sire. Nice steady string of workouts that I think make this horse an interesting player. And then Oscar Performance, the sire of Celebrity Row, makes this a horse worth watching as a win early candidate. Hasn't done it in the first two starts, but certainly showed an improved effort in the second start. So with the experience under the belt, the improving experience, we'll look for this one to be intriguing here as well. In the fourth at Churchill, 13, 1, 2, and 8.
On to the fifth. Claimers in for 32,000, racing 7/8.
4, 6, 9, and 1. Put Infiltrator on top. Nice win 3 back down at Oaklawn, and then tried some starter allowance company and starter allowance company in the last couple. Didn't fare as well, but the numbers were okay. And I thought coming to Churchill now, where the horse has shown ability in the past and dropping in for the tag, I thought at 5-1, this horse was absolutely live. 12-1 on WW Crazy, another one that I think is a player coming in from Oaklawn, comes in with some solid numbers, is matching up with this group. And again, I like that Oaklawn venue move this time of year. Zippin' Gigi in the third spot, comes in from a try at Keeneland when dropped in for a tag. That was number-wise was right in the thick of what this horse fires. Finishing position-wise was a little bit better, so the class move seemed to benefit. Takes another little half step this afternoon. So in the fifth, 4, 6, 9, and 1.
One more before halftime. We have 6 race, also going 7 furlongs. Fillies and Mares, maiden special weight.
6, 9, 10, and 2. Genetics on top for me. Belmont trainee that has shown some ability in the first few starts of the career. 3 thirds and 4 career starts. They were all last year. Now this horse comes back for the first start as a 3-year-old. This is the kind that I always feel can come back with an improved effort. So we'll take a little shot with Genetics to break through in the seasonal debut. Halston Rose in the second spot. 3 starts so far for Brian Lynch. Tried the dirt for the first time last time and ran okay. I think with that experience under the belt, has the opportunity to move forward. Penny Royal, first-time starter from Steve Asmussen by Curlin, shows some workouts that said this one could be live in debut. A Stone Street runner as well, so potent connections. I will note Pride's Crossing paid well over $1 million for this horse, but it's Larry Best and OXO. So the $1 million he likes to spend at the auctions, and we're 9-2 on the morning line. I'll just be interested to see what the horse does and what the horse goes off at with that $1 million price tag. I didn't use the horse in the mix, but I'm going to be interested in the 6, 9, 10, and 2.
And we'll take a quick break. When we come back, second half of today's action from Churchill Downs.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It's been referred to as possibly the best equine-themed gift shop on the planet. Impressions of Saratoga. Impressions of Saratoga, celebrating the Saratoga and equestrian lifestyles. It's your number one choice for Saratoga souvenirs, apparel, and gift shopping. We have gifts for the entire family, and we're pet friendly too. Visit us online at impressionssaratoga.com or come on down. Impressions of Saratoga, 368 Broadway, downtown Saratoga.
Welcome back. Race 7, 5.5 on the turf.
10, 6, 12, and 13. Counter-Strike on top. Comes in good form in a field that there are a few in here that you could point at and have similar confidence. But I thought off the recent good form, third start back off an early season layoff. Just missed last time. Gaffleone on board. There were things to like and things to say. This one, again, could be primed for a nice move today. Clear the Air. Jose Ortiz on board for Will Walden off a nice win, sprinting on the turf at Keeneland last time. And off of that, may wind up being the one to beat. That 5-1 looks generous. And in the third spot, we'll go outside the bed, beat Brian. Clunked in the last one and ran 5th, 2 back. But those were stakes efforts. I think this horse, with this bunch this afternoon, is going to be an okay fit. This is a horse with some back class, certainly, and we'll see if that kind of comes to the forefront this afternoon. We'll say Bound for Nowhere, the Wesley Ward runner, number 3, 10 years old. Just be interesting to see what the 10-year-old does in the seasonal debut today. But for me, in the 7th, I have it 10, 6, 12, and 13.
And by the way, I want only at Churchill Downs, right? 20 entered.
Yeah.
On to the 8th, starter allowance going 7/8.
9, 6, 1, and 5. Landlord on top. Ron Maquette runner, lately raced, but again, showed some ability, winning the career debut at Oaklawn. Now, it was a maiden claimer. Followed that up, though, in a state-bred stakes race. Just missed there, and then followed that up in an open optional claimer and won. So 2 for 3 with a near miss. We'll look for this one at 4-1 to maybe show up and be competitive here at Churchill. Comes in off a bullet workout over at Ellis. Motorcade in the second spot, coming in from Southern California. I think that venue move makes this one an interesting player. And then Pressure, the number 1, 10-1 on the morning line. Matt Shearer, trainee, that was a good near miss 2 starts back. They claimed the horse out of that. The follow-up was not quite as impressive, and now they step into starter allowance company. But again, that move from Oaklawn always attracts my attention this time of year. So I'll throw that one in at a price in the 8th at Churchill, 9, 6, 1, and 5.
In the 9th, we have 3-year-old fillies in for 100,000 or 1X going 6.
4, 7, 8, and 10. We'll use Silver Rose on top. Brad Cox trainee, coming in from Oaklawn most recently, but most recently was early in the Oaklawn meet, 9th of December. So this one hasn't been seen in a while. This is the 3-year-old debut. Again, the kind lightly raced layoff, comes back now for the 3-year-old start. And I could see this one coming back as an improved performer and already has looked pretty good in the career. Second spot, Navy Bell, also lightly raced, coming in from Southern California most recently, moves into the Greg Foley barn. Greg not only does good work, but he's certainly doing very good work so far at this Churchill meet with a nice percentage. Frankie Dettori listed on board. And then She Called goes out for Norm Cassie and the Leblongs. So Norm gets a client that I hadn't seen him run with before, although the horse started for the team a couple of times down at Oaklawn. Close up second, nice win coming in from Oaklawn. Norm Cassie and the Leblongs. I think this one is an interesting player as well. In the 9th, fun field in here. I have it 4, 7, 8, and 10.
Stakes feature this afternoon, 12 furlongs on the turf, older filly mares in the Kirtana.
2, 1, 5, and 4. I'll put Chop Chop on top for Brad Cox. Comes in off a stakes try at Keeneland last time, and it was a winning stakes try. Now, second place finisher, third place finisher, and in fact, the fourth place finisher all come back from that race. I have some of those in the mix as well, but I'm going to go with a fresh face as compared to that group in the second slot. I'll go with Heavenly Appointed for Graham Motion. Had a 3-race win streak snapped last time at Keeneland, an allowance event. Tri-Stakes Company for the first time, but I think is up to the assignment given what we saw the wintertime down at Tampa Bay. I'm looking for a rebound to a performance closer to that. And then Vergara in the third spot. Again, third last time in that Bewitch, but was third as the beaten favorite. We'll look for a better try today. Churchill's 10th, 2-1, 5-4.
Boy, I'm taking my first look at this finale today at Churchill Downs. 7 furlongs, fillies and mares, maiden special weights. If the Mott Firster goes off anywhere near 8-1.
I'm right with you. 9-2,
Okay.
10-1. City of Light, interesting sire with first out runners. It is Bill Mott. It's Tyler Gaffalione on board. There's a nice little string of workouts that look pretty good. And, you know, a couple of them seem to tout this horse will be well met in debut. 7 furlongs, a tough spot to debut at, but they paid over they paid $500,000 for this horse. So obviously there are some hopes. And I
just to interject, I think these workouts for a Bill Mott runner are scary good.
Yeah.
Like he has to be like, this is not Bill Mott.
Yeah, no.
This horse, it's got to be all the horse.
The one on March 26th jumps out, the 48 from the gate down at Payson. And so I'll put number 9, Come As You Are on top. Second spot, Candy Landy. Nice maiden breaker and only the second career start. Well, I say maiden breaker. Came under the wire first, was disqualified. And then has, they tried Stakes Company immediately after, didn't fare well, and has tried a couple of maiden races since and hasn't lived up to that first under the wire finish earlier. But I think this horse is going to fit with this group. Queen Clancy in the third spot. 5 tries, 3 seconds. Last time, not so much, but does come in from Oaklawn is interesting. And she's a little stinker, the one at 10-1 by Gunrunner. Could be another interesting first-time starter. The 11th at Churchill, 9-2.
And you threw out the chalk. I like it. The out of the Philly Wedding Toast, Godolphin, Queen of Paris, the 6. The Tappet. I mean, this is
lukewarm favorite.
I mean,
not chalk.
I always imagine, like, especially Godolphin, if you've looked over the last 5 to 7 years, they bought so many mares, they're now homebred. I would wonder what that runner would have gone through a sales ring. I mean, at a wedding
this
toast.
One has some really nice works too. I'll be interested to see. You know, we're looking at 7-2 on the morning line.
Right.
So wasn't attracting much attention on the morning line, but I'll be interested to see what the
bettors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I would be interested in Come As You Are, who's 8-1 in the morning line. I can't see that standing up. I mean,
I don't know. First time starter, 7.
The other thing is, I know there aren't very many horses at Payson Park where Bill Mott likes to winter, but for Bill Mott's, non-starter yet, sending multiple bullets is like, my point is, to me, my way of thinking, it's all this horse. Like, Mott's just got to be like, there's nothing I can do. I can't, she's fast. She's, that last one, 36 and change, breezing for the debut. Now, I will say with workouts, it seems as if, Seth, there aren't too many handily workouts labeled anymore.
Yeah.
Everything seems to be breezing from the clockers, so I got to take them at their word. The old days, there used to be, you could parse it out a little bit, but it's a beautiful day out there. Keep us, on the line. There's going to be some great racing, whether it's at Aqueduct, Churchill Downs. A very nice meet, very nice 11th race for them. He stays, I go. Be safe this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next Saturday.
OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.